The 7.35 update just released and brought some crazy changes. In this video, I will try to summarize all the changes as quickly as possible. So let's get into it. Starting with the items. There are 4 new items: Ring of Tarask, Tiara of Selamine, Khanda and Parasma. Both Ring and Tiara are secret shop items, and Ring gives plus 12 health regeneration and costs 1800 gold, while Tiara gives 6 mana regeneration, also costing 1800 gold. Khanda is Crystallis plus Phylactery and costs 5000 gold. Parasma is a follow-up from Witchblade that applies a minus 20% magic resistance on enemies. It costs 5575 gold. The Quarterstaff and the Medallion of Courage were completely removed from the game. There were also 5 reworked items on the update: the Arcane Boots, Blood Thorn, Ethereal Blade, Orb of Corrosion and Revenant's Brooch. The Arcane Boots aren't crafted with Energy Booster anymore and now needs a Ring of Basilis. The mana given was reduced to 175 mana but gives more mana passively. Bloodthorn now needs a Hyperstone and Javelin instead of Mage Slayer, giving an improved Javelin's passive and plus 100 attack speed. The Ethereal Blade now needs Ether Lens, providing plus 250 cast range. Orb now doesn't apply armor reduction and instead applies a debuff that reduces healing, regeneration, and all life steal by 20%. Revenant's Brooch now gives plus 20% spell life steal and an active that makes every attack cost 75 mana but turns them into magic damage. There were a lot of buffed items. Divine Rapier got plus 25% spell amplification. Gleipnir got plus 30 attack speed. Mage Slayer now applies a debuff that causes 20 magic damage every second but no longer gives plus 20 damage. Mjolnir got plus 20 attack speed. Shiva's Guard now only gives plus 8 intelligence but also gives plus 8 agility, strength and health regeneration, on top of plus 5 armor and a cheaper active that makes every enemy affected receive plus 15% damage from spells. Silver Edge no longer gives a passive crit chance but the active now does 300 damage and the break time is increased by 1. Solar Crest now gives plus 200 health and plus 300 mana and can be used to provide a 400 HP barrier on allies. The nerfed items are Crystallis, now costing plus 100 gold. Heart of Tarask, no longer giving plus 250 health. Lincoln Sphere is 200 gold more expensive and no longer provides plus 10 damage. Scythe of Vice gives less attributes. Veil's active ability spell damage amplification was decreased by 8% and is now casted around the hero. There are other item changes, but most of them are completely irrelevant, even though there are some important ones like the Meme Hammer now using Kaya and costing plus 900 gold, giving the old Ethereal Blade buffs. Now covering the neutral items, there were a lot of changes this patch. A lot of items got removed, like the Tumbler's Toy, the Ring of Aquila, the Quickening Charm, the Titan's Liver, the Penta-Edged Sword, the Spell Prism, the Ex Machina and the Fallen Sky. Some old items returned, like the Royal Jelly, that accumulates charges over time that can be consumed for health and mana regeneration. The Craggy Coat, that gives armor bonus at the cost of movement speed, and the Magic Lamp, an item that hard dispels and heals for 1000 HP when the wearer's health falls lower than 20%. The new items Valve presented are the Safety Bubble, a Tier 1 item that creates an 100 HP barrier. The Light Collector, a Tier 2 item that gives health regeneration during the day and mana regeneration during the night, also breaks close trees. The Whisper of the Dread, also Tier 2, provides plus 10% spell damage at the cost of the wearer's daytime vision. The Doubloon, Tier 3, has an active that makes 20% of the wearer's mana turn into health or the other way around. The Nemesis Curse, also Tier 3, makes you suffer plus 8% damage from all sources, but you apply a debuff on enemies that makes them suffer plus 12% damage from all sources. The Ancient Guardian, Tier 4 item that gives plus 50 damage and doubles it if you have an Ancient in a 2000 range. The Aviana's Feather, also Tier 4, passively gives plus 25% evasion and 30 movement speed, and when your health falls lower than 30% you win flying movement. The Rattle Cage was also added, a Tier 4 item that makes you hit 2 nearby enemies for 125 damage, slowing their attack and movement speed every time the wearer suffers 180 damage from any source. The new Tier 5 item is Unwavering Condition, that makes you basically immune to magic damage but sets your max health to 1500 at all times. There were a ton of hero changes, and I won't cover all of them, but I will cover the relevant ones, starting with buffs. Axis Ultimate now doesn't provide attack speed bonus but a 30 armor bonus and has 1 extra base armor. Bane got a ton of buffs on Brain Snap and higher range on Nightmare. Bat Rider also got buffed, with highest movement speed and lower cooldowns. Bounty Hunter level 25 talent now reduces Genada cooldown to 0. Clinks now has higher base agility per level and a stronger burning barrage. Clockwork has higher base strength and no longer gets stunned after overclocking. Crystal Maiden can now activate the clone with her abilities and has better talents. Disruptor got minor buffs in his abilities. Doom got buffed and heroes affected by his ultimate can no longer be denied. Drow Ranger can now reveal invisible units and cast Glacier during multi-shot. Ember can now chain 3 units at a time. KOTL got a lot of different buffs. Lion Mana Drain now causes damage. Mars now makes more damage, has greatly reduced times to cast abilities and can use Bulwark more freely. Sven got more intelligence gain and now his Aghanim's does more damage. Timbersaw got more overall strength and a more powerful reactive armor. Tiny Tree Grab got a lot of buffs. Troll can now move during his ultimate if no one is around. Vengeful Spirit ultimate now does up to 450 damage and creates an 450 HP barrier on her and on her ally if it's used on an ally. Viper Nether Toxin no longer applies break but a 60 attack speed slow, plus her ultimate now applies break and applies a more powerful slow. Now the nerfed heroes. Blood Seeker's Blood Right damage is now magical instead of pure and the life steal from the shard is now 30 HP flat instead of 1.8% max target health. Both bristle back. Centaur and Chaos Knight got minor nerfs. Dazzle's ultimate no longer refreshes item cooldowns and enemies can now be denied if they are affected with poison touch. Muerta Slit Shot no longer prioritizes heroes and her ultimate causes less damage. Phantom Assassin Strike no longer triggers life steal and Fan of Knife's damage is now magic damage instead of pure. Silencer Glaives now cause magic damage instead of pure as well. Slardar Slitherine Crush got nerfed and Spectre also got nerfed. Now covering general changes. Valve finally added the skins we wanted. No Arcanas yet as I explained in the previous video, but you have to buy keys to get the skins. Apart from that there were Roshan changes. He got a new ability, Roar of Retribution. That makes everyone in a 900 radius get plus 25% damage received. He now also drops a banner that makes creep stronger, but it can be destroyed by 6 enemy hits. There were also rune changes. Double damage now gives 15% spells amplification and invisibility rune gives 25% plus 5% damage reduction every rune during invisibility. The Twin Gates now cost 75 mana to use. There are also 2 new Watchers. And now it is easier not to get hit by the towers. And that is finally it. Bye.